What's up, you guys? Welcome to Podcast and Chill. My name is Hutch. With me, as always, my co-host Gio.
What's going on, guys?
And we took last week off because it was the holidays. We probably should have told you guys in advance, but we sort of decided on the spot that that's what we're gonna do. But we're back this week, and we have a bunch of news stories because we had a nice little backlog of stuff. But before we get to that, we talk about the things that we've been watching and participating in when it comes to nerd culture in the last couple weeks. So, Gio, what have you been watching? What have you been playing? What have you been doing?
Wasn't really able to watch as much as I wanted to, but I did watch Bone Tomahawk,
You did.
and yes,
What did you think?
I thought it was incredible.
It was
It
really
was
good.
one of the most intense movies I think I've ever seen.
You
Like
know,
it's
did you see the Green Inferno?
no, I heard about it though.
But you've seen like Eli Roth films, like Hostel,
Yeah,
really graphic kind of movies.
yeah.
Very few movies, like even his movies don't really gross me out that much. But that
hmm
scene, I won't say anything else besides that scene in the
In
Bone
the
Tomahawk.
in the jail cell.
I'm not going to say anything else besides that,
Okay,
just so there's no
okay,
more
yeah.
Spoilers.
I was making sure I know which scene you're talking about.
Oh man, that scene
That
was
was it
so
was
hard to
rough.
watch.
It was gut wrenching. It was hard. But just the whole fact that they didn't play any music throughout the entire movie, and then they started it off with intensity and they just kept it going throughout. Just each little set piece, I thought it was awesome.
You
I
know, I
really
didn't
enjoyed it.
notice that there was no music in the movie. There was
Yeah,
none? Are you
there was
sure?
literally there was no music until the ending credits.
Interesting.
It was kind of like what was I think No Country for Old Men did that too. There was no music throughout the movie until the end, till the credits.
Interesting. Okay.
That's
Well,
something else I really liked.
now I got to go back and watch these and make sure that you're on your A game here
I believe I'm correct. Also, I also watched Ex Machina last night.
for the first time. What'd
Yes,
you think?
that was really good as well.
Yeah, it was
That was super good.
one of my favorite movies this year.
It kind of reminded me a little bit like a more modern take on the movie AI that came out in like 2002.
Yeah, you know, I never saw that. That's the one with Haley Joel Osment and
Yeah, the
Jude
kid
Law.
from and the kid from that's from Sixth Sense, I think, right?
Yeah, Haley Joel Osment, I
Yeah,
think is his name.
yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
right.
Spielberg directed that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was very long and slow. It was kind of hard to follow. I had to watch it a few times. It was still a decent sci-fi flick, but Ex Machina was just it was unsettling throughout the entire movie. Like I was just unsettled by the scientist dude. I forgot his name, actor name.
Um, oh God, now I can't figure. He's like one of
Yeah,
my favorite actors,
yeah,
and
he's such a good actor.
he's playing Apocalypse in X-Men. My brain's not working properly. Anyone who's listening to this, so don't hold it against me if I can't remember any names.
Uh,
But yeah,
but yeah,
he's
he
great
was
in that
just
movie.
he was an unsettling character, and the whole I don't know. I don't want to ruin anything, but the my thought process of who the AI was going to be and the way the story was gonna pan out did not go the way the movie went at all. It was completely a 180. So I really enjoyed it. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. You know what? What else was really great about that movie is that the humor was so seemingly out of place, but it was
Yeah,
so funny.
yeah.
Like now I'm gonna look up his name because it's gonna piss me off.
The dance scene between him and Kimiko.
The dance scene was one of them, yeah, and then there was a lot of other scenes that were like that too. Oscar Isaac, that's his
There
name.
you go.
His character was just he's such a great actor, and in a movie like that, you don't expect it to be funny at all. It's a really
hmm
serious tone, but
Yep.
he made me laugh in almost every scene that he's in,
He
and
was yeah. His character was something else.
and then it also kind of like it really plays with your idea of who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. So like
hmm
in your head, you're really thinking one thing the whole movie, and then by the end of the movie, I found myself not knowing what to think. Like me and my girlfriend were talking about it afterwards, and we're just like, is is this person a bad person, or is this machine a
hmm
bad thing? Can you classify these as bad things? And it really
Yeah.
kind of makes you question your idea of morality by the end of it. Um, yeah, masterfully done movie. Anyways, what else did you watch this week?
I watched one other thing that I can remember on a less good movie note was American Ultra with Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, I saw that in theaters.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I liked it. I didn't think it was great, but I thought
It
it
was
was
definitely fun. It was just a fun action flick about what I expected.
yeah. If you don't take it too seriously, then I think you'll probably find yourself entertained.
Yeah,
But
it was funny. I enjoyed it.
I think that people give Kristen Stewart too much of a hard time too. Like she's been annoying in certain roles, but she's been totally fine in other roles too. Like she
Yeah,
was in
she did really well in Ultra.
she was in Adventureland as well with the same
Yeah,
actor
yep,
actor, and I
which
thought
is a
she was
great
fine.
movie.
Yeah, I thought she was fine in that movie. But
Yeah, I
uh
think she suffers from the same thing. What's his face suffers from being in Twilight.
yeah, it's like the same
They
thing.
base they base everything off of the one movie that they're the most famous for, and not everything else they've done.
People pick on her a bit more because she's I think she's technically more successful, and she's got that permanently sort of like bitchy face. She's got
Yeah,
the
that
the resting bitch
non-interested
face.
bitch face.
Yeah. Um, yeah, no, that movie was all right. It wasn't great, but it was all right. I watched a bunch of stuff this week.
Yeah.
So as far as things I saw in theaters, I saw Mockingjay Part 2 a couple weeks ago, but we didn't talk about that yet because we didn't do the show last week.
hmm
I hated it. Like,
I that's the general consensus.
did you see it yet?
I haven't, but I've read all the books and I saw the first part of Mockingjay, and I don't think the last book makes a good movie. Because of the tone and the way things happen in the book, I don't think it would ever make a good movie in any universe. So I'm not surprised that general consensus is that it's bad.
I decided after I saw this that I hate this entire like the whole series. I hate it. And I've seen every movie I saw in theaters. I don't know why, because each time, like the only one that I kind of liked was the second one. The second one I walked out of the theater, I was like, that was a good movie. I like that. It had a good cliffhanger at the end. The action was good. I thought it was more interesting, and I was a little bit more invested in who died and who lived in the first movie.
hmm
But then Mockingjay Part 1 I thought was just incredibly boring, and then this movie, man, fuck the Hunger Games. That's all I have to say about that, really. I'm not a fan. I saw The Night Before with Seth Rogen and
hmm
what's his name? Alex Mackey? Anthony Mackie, the guy who plays Falcon.
Yeah.
And then who's the other one? Why can't I think of it? The guy from 50/50 who played Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Those three characters.
Gotcha.
Really, really funny movie. Have you seen the trailers for this at all?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, it's like a Christmas movie. The synopsis is Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, his parents died like right before Christmas or on Christmas 11 years ago, so they've made it a tradition every year to go out and just get shit-faced to like help their friend have fun on Christmas and turn it
Oh
into
yeah, I've seen this trailer. Okay, yeah, I know
Okay,
what
yeah.
you're talking about. Movie looked really funny.
It's good, yeah. It's really, really funny. Seth Rogen in particular, his character, like his wife is pregnant in the movie, and so as a gift, she gives him just a small box of every drug you could possibly imagine. And so his character is really tripping balls throughout the entire movie. There's one scene where he ends up in a Catholic church for a midnight mass, and his character is Jewish, and just dealing with all kinds of like guilt in the middle of mass, and then he just has this. So it's a really funny movie. I'm generally like a big fan of Seth Rogen.
hmm
And then I saw Creed, and I fucking loved that movie.
I heard
Did you,
great things about it. Yeah, I haven't been
really?
able to go to I wasn't able to go to the theater this weekend.
Have you watched a lot of the Rocky movies?
I've watched all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge like Rocky fan. I mean, 3, 4, and 5 aren't great, but 1, 2, and 6 are just like great movies. I loved Rocky
hmm
Balboa, the last one before this one.
Yeah.
And this movie is sort of done in the same kind of way. It has the same kind of tone as that one. And
Yeah.
yeah, like the acting was really well done, and the fight scenes too. I thought they I don't know if they ever did this before, but they did like the one shot technique for the fight scenes. So for the first couple fights, it's just like one long take. They don't break or
Yeah.
cut or anything like that. Or if they do, it's done with like CG, and they kind of cleverly hide where they're cutting.
hmm
Um, and I was most impressed by the fight scenes in this movie probably than any other Rocky movie.
Yeah.
And the acting was great. I think the guy's name is Michael B. Jordan, the guy who played the Human Torch in
Unfortunately,
Fantastic Four.
he's also in Chronicle. He also played in a good movie called Chronicle.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of. He was in Fruitvale Station too, which is another good movie, and
hmm
I like him as an actor a lot. And I thought he was perfect for this
Yeah,
role.
he's a really good actor.
What surprises me about Rocky movies is like, and it surprises me every time. I don't know why it surprises me, but Sylvester Stallone's acting is so like gut wrenching, like and heartwarming, and he pulls on your feel strings on your
Yeah, he's
insides.
a he every like a lot of his characters he's played, even in his like most violent movies, he's still like a big teddy bear character.
But
Like he's a
particularly in these movies, he plays it so well, like that vulnerability. He does
yeah,
such a good job of that, and it surprises me because when I think of Sylvester Stallone, I think of Rambo and Demolition
yeah.
Man, and a lot of characters that don't really require a lot of versatility
Hmm.
or range. But he just does such a good job every time. Really good movie. Um, I watched a few movies at home this week too. I saw a couple documentaries. One was called "This Movie's Not Yet Rated," which is all about the ratings board, the MPA, the Motion Picture Association of America, and how they come up with the ratings. And without giving away too much, I don't know if you've seen this. Have you watched this yet? It's on Netflix.
No, I've not.
Really interesting movie. If you're curious at all about how these movies get rated, and just the idea of ratings for me since I was a kid, I've hated the idea of someone else telling me what's obscene and what's not
Yeah,
obscene. I wish they would just get rid of ratings,
I
but
agree.
but parents would throw a shit fit if they didn't. But this movie's right up your alley if you're interested in that. There's another one called Horror's Glory, which I only saw the last half of. It's another documentary on Netflix, and it has a really graphic sex scene. I just want to be clear about that. It's basically there's a sex scene in it that's basically porn. Um, but it's the story of these different parts of the world and how they treat prostitutes and prostitution in general. And the scenes that I saw were from India and Mexico, and I guess before that they did it in Bangkok and then somewhere else. I'm not sure, but really interesting. Does not hold back, like really graphic. Um, and then I saw Fargo, Walking Dead this week. Were both awesome. And I went back and watched Die Hard 1 because it's a Christmas theme, and that movie is great.
I actually just ordered all the Die Hard movies, well, the first three, so I can watch them
Ordered them
again.
from what?
Amazon.
What do you mean you ordered them? Oh, you ordered like a Blu-ray or something?
Yeah, yeah. I like
Uh,
physical copies of things. I'm that kind of guy.
I don't get any physical copies anymore.
Yeah,
It's
you're an
all
awful
digital.
person.
Why
You're
do you say
awful.
that?
I don't know. I like having things on a shelf. I like how things look on a shelf.
Man, I'm all over Amazon, the streaming service every day.
Yeah,
I rent, I
Well,
rent like one
I've
or
been
two
using that as
movies.
well a little bit, but usually stuff that I really like I see, I usually just buy them right away so I can watch them again.
I mean, is it really better quality though? Because like, can you for a Blu-ray? How does that compare to a 1080p streaming on Amazon?
I actually haven't compared it, but it looks pretty damn close. Like there isn't a huge difference. I'll be completely honest, because I watched Ex Machina. I just got a new TV yesterday. And I watched Ex Machina on it, and it looked great.
Yeah, you
It
got
looked
a new
crisp.
4K TV, right?
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
it upres 1080p to 4K? Because I don't know anything about 4K.
I think so. I'm
Does
pretty
it
sure it
look
does.
better on the 4K TV, or does it look like just a regular TV in 1080p?
Everything looks fantastic on it. Like I watched what else did I watch last night? I watched something. I watched Rick and Morty on my previous TV, and then I watched it again, and even that looked better on the TV, and that's a cartoon.
How big was the TV you got?
It's 55 inches.
Do you mind if I ask how much you spent on it?
It was actually during Black Friday, so I spent 975 on it, and it
Jeez.
was like a $1,100 TV, I think.
I can't justify spending that much on a TV right now because I think my cat would destroy it. Like it's
Yeah, that's scary.
my cat's so young and she plays with everything right now that
Yeah,
if I brought a 4K TV, I would be really upset
you
if
just
she
be
destroyed
inside
it.
of it. She'll have a hole through it.
She'll scratch it for sure, and I can't have that. I mean, I guess
Yeah,
I could mount it, but I
you
still
put
don't
it up
even
on your
trust it
wall.
then. Yeah, eventually I think I'll have to get a 4K TV. I saw one of those in Fry's for like the first time. I saw like a up close and personal like 4K
Yeah,
TV,
it's pretty ridiculous.
it was mind blowing. I didn't expect the jump to be that much, but it looked.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely. You can definitely see visually, like especially if you spend a lot of time with it and you go back to something that's not 4K, you can definitely tell the quality difference.
So did you watch Fargo at all yet? Did you watch
I
any of
have
the?
not. I wasn't able to really watch it too much stuff because I've been so busy. I left for Thanksgiving, and then I streamed, and I left for California for a day. I wasn't able to watch a ton of stuff.
Were you there for Far Cry?
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
allowed to talk about that?
I am actually.
Can you talk to
I
me
was
about that? Because I haven't seen anything about Far Cry
I
Primal.
was actually able to post a video last night. I recorded a bunch of footage of Far Cry Primal. It's really good.
Is it
It
is
is a
it
lot of fun.
what? So how is it different from Far Cry 3, Far Cry 4?
There aren't major huge gameplay differences. The biggest thing right now is the beast taming because you play a beast tamer. And you can tame like tigers and bears and wolves and saber tooths and things like that. And most importantly, badgers. You can tame badgers and they go fucking ham. Um,
Can you like take over the spirit of a pterodactyl and fly around and shit, or like
I don't think there's dinosaurs. I do not think there's dinosaurs, at least not yet. Because we didn't see any dinosaurs, and they didn't say anything about dinosaurs,
interesting?
unfortunately. And I wasn't allowed to show it, but I saw the beast menu, and it listed a lot of the beasts that you can use, and find and tame, and there wasn't a dinosaur. And I could have swore, was there a dinosaur in the trailer? I couldn't
I
remember.
don't know. I can't remember.
Like for some reason, I went in thinking I was going to see dinosaurs for some reason. I don't know what it was, but
Well, I'm a
but yeah,
huge Far Cry fan.
it
I
was
loved 3. I loved 4.
if you're a Far Cry fan, you're gonna love this game, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved both of those games as well. It was a lot of fun. Checking out all the beasts you can do tame, and you can call in an owl that's kind of like a UAV, and you can scout an area, and you can send it down to claw people's faces off. It's pretty great.
Who's the antagonist in the game? Is it just like a
Um,
rival tribe?
it looks like we had no story. All story was locked off. We had no story. We were just going around in free roam and stuff like that. And it looks like rival tribemen or something like that. When you go in, like those little bases you could take over in the previous games.
Yeah.
When you do that in this game, you have to kill everyone, right? But there's also innocent, like there's women in the village as well that you have to murder to take over the bases. So it seems like it's like a rival tribe or something like
Seriously?
that. Yeah,
You have to.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. And what's not in my gameplay or any other one else's because it wasn't in the build we were playing. It was confirmed. I asked around that we will be able to ride saber-toothed tigers in the game, He-Man style.
Okay.
So that's pretty dope, and I'm super excited about that.
Well, you could ride elephants in Far Cry 4, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. I
that
don't
was a
know. Could
rideable
you ride
animal.
anything else in Far Cry 4? I think that was it,
I
wasn't
think
it?
elephants and cars was and helicopters and things like that. And that's all it was. I don't
Man,
think any other animal
the little mini helicopters in Far Cry 4 was just the funnest
were
shit ever.
they really were. It was super fun. But yeah, Far Cry 4 it was is or Primal was awesome. Definitely
Well,
worth it.
cool. That's good to hear. It's coming out soon too. Like I was surprised that they said it was coming out in February.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
I mean, that's so interesting to me because usually, like, you figured they would have teased this like way before. Because games now they have this habit of teasing themselves like a year or 2 years before they
Yeah.
even come out.
And then everyone gets super excited and then the hype kind of dies. I think they do it because when things like really tease themselves like really hardcore pretty early on, I think the hype dies down. Like look at the Division right now.
Yeah, that's
There's
coming out soon too.
yeah, it's coming out pretty soon and like the hype is pretty much dead because they ramped it up way too early. Same thing happened with Watch Dogs. So I think a lot of devs now with their games are kind of sticking like a lot closer to their release date. Like Rainbow Six had like 3 betas and 2 of them were like up like 2 or 3 months before the game came out to
Yeah,
keep the hype going. So I think they're getting smarter with that kind of stuff.
yeah. I mean, I actually liked Watch Dogs. I didn't think it was great, but I liked it. I played through the whole campaign. I beat
It
it.
was I just felt like a dumbed down GTA to me. Like it felt like GTA with less stuff to do with hacking.
Pretty
That's what it
much, but it
that's
wasn't
pretty much what
terrible.
I don't know. I'm so indifferent about that game.
Well, okay, so moving on to news because we're gonna have to move on eventually here. So again, you guys can feel free to suggest movie news sites to us. I just got used to using one site because it's one of my friends freelance for it a long time ago. It's a site called 411mania.com. And this is where I'm pulling all my stories, and they pull their stories from all over the web. So they're kind of an aggregate site. But yeah, full disclosure, that's where I'm getting all my intel from. The first story that I picked was something that we've talked about before, but now he's being a little bit more concrete about it. And it's that Steven Spielberg says that no one will replace Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. His quote is, "I don't think anyone could replace Harrison as Indy. I don't think it's ever going to happen. It's certainly not my intention to ever have another actor step into his shoes in the way there have been many actors that have played Spider-Man or Batman. There's only going to be one actor playing Indiana Jones, and that's Harrison Ford. So how do you feel about that?
I mean, in my mind, my childhood love for those movies, it's true, but I still think he's way too old, and I think that they need to move on. Because I love the story, like I love the character Indiana Jones, and I think they could definitely, I don't know, branch off and do other stuff with that kind of feel. But I think Harrison Ford is too old.
Does Spielberg even own Indiana Jones? Like
I
how is he, like, doesn't some studio own that? And would they not step in and say, no, this is worth way too much money to just sit on this. We're gonna replace him.
at this point, I think Steven Spielberg pretty much owns everything he does, so I don't think they can. But I could be wrong. I'm not really sure how that works.
Either am I. I thought George Lucas had a piece of Indiana Jones as well.
Yeah,
But
because he did what? He did produce it, didn't he? Didn't he
I thought he
co-write or
directed
produce?
Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls, and then I thought Spielberg produced it, helped him produce it,
Oh,
is
I
what
have
I
no
thought.
idea.
But I don't
I
know.
always thought that Lucas was like a co-producer or a co-writer or something like that. Because he has his name in all of them, all the Indiana Jones movies, right?
Yeah, I
Pretty
think so.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I
I
don't
mean,
know.
like it all depends on who owns it, because
Yeah.
I think that no studio in their right mind, if they own this franchise, would ever say, well, let's just let it die. There's just,
Yeah.
I've
I
never
think
heard of that happening.
if a studio actually owns the Indiana Jones, franchise, I think they're gonna push either him to do another one with a different character, or he might be able to throw up another Harrison Ford movie, or they might just push Steven Spielberg out completely and get another director to do it. Because that,
I think it's all going to depend too on how Harrison Ford does in Star Wars. Like
mhm.
if he plays, if I go and watch this movie and he plays the role with enthusiasm and you can tell that he enjoys acting, but if I watch it and he just looks like he's just kind of tired and old, then
Just phoning it in.
yeah, just kind of phoning it in, because that's how I felt about the last Indy movie.
Yep, I get
Like,
that feel as well.
I haven't really seen him in anything that really blew me away recently, but he's kind of outspoken against. He's like a real private person, doesn't like having his face out there too much, and I don't think he particularly enjoys acting all that much these days too. He's a really
Yeah.
interesting character, because he's been really outspoken too about struggling with depression as well, which
Hmm.
you wouldn't expect that from a character. I mean, like if you just watched his movies, you wouldn't expect him to go through something like that, but
Yeah.
he's kind of a melancholy guy in real life. Batman v Superman trailer came out. The second one. What did you think?
They blew their load everywhere, all over that trailer. They
There's a lot of
literally,
jizz in that trailer.
like, they just threw everything out there. Like, this is what's in it. I think they tried to compete with Civil War and they went a little too far.
You
Like,
think
they
that's
were.
why they did it?
And honestly, that's what it feels like. It looked like, hey, Civil War just came out, but or the Civil War trailer is out, but hey, look at us. We're also gonna be a movie, but here's everything that's gonna happen in the movie, in the
I,
trailer. And I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna watch it. I'm excited about it. I'm hyped for it, but I really wish they would have left some stuff a mystery. Even though, like, the my main thing is they showed Apocalypse, or not Apocalypse, excuse me, Doomsday.
yeah.
Um, I knew he was going to be in the movie because they showed Zod's body in the previous trailers, but they never made it like concrete. It was still a mystery and that kind of thing. And then in that trailer, they confirmed it. They showed the scenes where he
It's
gets created, and then
it's been pretty concrete in movie sites for probably about 6 or 7 months now. There's this pretty reputable site called Latino Review, or
mhm,
Latino. If you just Google search Latino movie review, and I also listen to AMC's podcast sometimes, and they're a good group of people. I really enjoy what they do, but they all have people that have credibility in the industry, and they've had people come on the show and they were like, without a doubt, Doomsday is going to be in this movie, and
yeah,
they've been saying that for like months and months and months now.
yeah,
So that wasn't necessarily a surprise to me, but I didn't want to know what he looked like.
yep,
I didn't want to know any of that. And
hmm,
I was really disappointed in this trailer. It kind of killed my hype a little bit. It's not like I'm not hyped for the movie, but if I could say one thing that I was most disappointed about, would be the very last scene where Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are all kind of like together, and Batman's got his gun and all that stuff. Like,
yeah,
I don't need to see that. Like, you don't need, if the title of your movie is Batman v Superman, that doesn't necessarily limit the movie itself to just being Batman v Superman, but I don't want to know anything else about the movie. I thought they gave
yeah.
away way too much, and I wasn't really feeling Jesse Eisenberg as as Lex Luthor. I
He
did
kind
not
of
like that.
like if with the way he came off was like a bit of a schizo.
Kind of like,
Um,
yeah, he was kind of like a
and
psychopath. Like,
yeah, he's very eccentric, and I guess it's supposed to be a younger Lex Luthor, but I don't know. I don't know if that's the proper way to portray him because although everything I've ever read of Lex Luthor is a very methodical, a very thought out, a very genius, but a very like sociopath is what he was. He didn't convey a lot of emotion until he was very angry, basically. And it seems like in the movie he's the exact opposite.
and he
So
was
I don't
making
know.
these kind of like these attempts at humor that I just weren't really I didn't really like the scene where he goes, "Oh, that's quite a grip you've got. Do not pick a fight with him." And then it
Yeah.
kind of froze on them for a second. I thought that humor was just a little too on the nose for me. I mean, I'm not gonna rush to any conclusions. I'm obviously still gonna go see this movie, but I think I am now more hyped for Star Wars than I am for this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
I
the
do
first
agree.
time the first trailer they dropped was a 4 minute trailer, and it didn't give away like anything. Like it gave
It
away
focused
some
on the
stuff,
Batman
but
versus Superman thing. It focused on that.
they did such a good job with the first trailer, and I was
And
not
they
feeling this one.
Yeah. And also it just turns me off of watching future trailers because I don't want more trailers to be like that. Like I don't want to see the entire all plot points in a trailer. Like I want it to get me hyped, but I don't want to know what's going to happen when going into the trailer or going into the movie.
Someone tweeted me a link, and they said, "Here's a version of the new trailer where it's fixed." And I guess someone went and took all the footage and recut it and just got rid of Doomsday, got rid of that last shot of them side by side, and like
Yeah.
they cut it in a way where they still gave away some of the plot points, but not enough to actually spoil it. And
Hmm.
I like that would have been the way that I wanted to see it, but yeah, I was really disappointed with this trailer.
Yeah. Also, what did you think? Did you hear like really get a good hear of Batman's voice in the trailer?
Yeah,
Because I did.
yeah, I did. I
What did you
think
think?
I love it because I think they're doing like a voice changer, is what
Yeah,
it
it
sounds
sounds
like.
like my thought process was he has like a voice changer in his mask is what it is.
Yeah.
And I hopefully they explain a little bit of that because it's never been a thing, I don't think, or anything
Um,
Batman I've read. But
that's what I
I,
thought in the first trailer I saw where when he goes when you hear him say the line, "Do you bleed? You will," or something like that. You
yeah,
remember
well,
that?
see, I thought that was just all about his suit because he had like he has like an exoskeleton suit, so I figured okay, voice changing that makes sense because he's in like a big high tech suit of armor. But I did not expect to hear that outside of that, like in his actual just regular bat suit. So I want to hear more of it to get to before I give my like official thought on it because I'm still not completely sold on it. But
I think them doing that is really smart because the biggest criticism of Nolan's films is the bad voice,
yeah, for sure.
is the Bale voice, and this is the best way to deal with that, where you can
Yeah,
have like sort of like a robot-y sort of digitized but still deep as fuck and daunting, intimidating
yeah,
voice, and you can have it based in reality. Because when you think about it, that's like, why wouldn't Bruce Wayne do that in every iteration of Batman? If he's trying to
yeah.
hide his identity, why would he not just implement a voice changer in there? I love that. I think the idea of
But
that sounds great. Obviously, we don't know if that's the case yet, but
yeah, my other sorry, I cut you off there.
no, go ahead.
My other theory is that he knows because I'm pretty sure, like canon wise, Batman figures out who Superman is pretty quickly. And my theory is that he uses a voice changer maybe to throw him off because of Superman's powers. Maybe he thinks it'll help conceal his identity for a little longer. But I'm pretty sure Superman like X-ray visions him and figures it out. But I don't know. That was just a theory I was throwing around in my head.
Um, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess it would make sense that both of them would have the resources to figure out who the other one was
Yeah.
pretty quickly. So I kind of expect that to happen in the movie. Um, I don't know. I still want to see if Joker makes an appearance in this movie in the form of like a flashback or something like
Yeah,
that,
because they
because they made a
showed the
reference
Robin
to
suit
it.
again.
Yeah,
They showed the Robin suit.
and they made a reference to what did he say? Maybe it's just the
Clowns
Gotham in
wearing
me. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm wary of clowns wearing a bunch of stupid makeup or something like that.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. There was something about the tone of this trailer where there was like I really wanted it to maintain the first trailer was pretty dark. Like there wasn't any humor at all. It
Hmm.
was just a really straightforward. This is like a dark sort of Shakespearean take on these characters,
Yeah.
and I wasn't feeling the humor in this trailer. So hopefully they keep that at a minimum because I think that Like DC films like do that really well. I think that Marvel already fills the role of sort of like the more family friendly and humorous take on superhero films, and
Hmm.
DC needs to like I think they need to stick to their role of being on the darker end of things.
I
Um,
agree.
I don't know. We'll see though. We'll see. I'm wary now, and that kind of bums me out. All right, the next one that I have here is Seth MacFarlane teases a Family Guy film. Um, oh my goodness, I can't talk.
You
I got
got
sick
this,
a
man.
couple of days ago, guys, and so my brain's not at 100%. So Seth MacFarlane has teased the possibility of a Family Guy movie coming soon. MacFarlane took to Twitter to respond to a fan asking about the possibility of a film by posting. Someone else asked him, I'm not going to read this because it's hard to read. Someone else asked him, when are you going to stop fannying around and actually do the Family Guy movie? And his response was soon, soon. So what do you think of a Family Guy movie?
I think I think Family Guy has kind of gotten tired on me. I don't really find it as entertaining as I used to. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's just me growing up or just me being a hipster. I don't know what it is, but I really just haven't found the humor any funny anymore. Like, it really hasn't entertained me as much as it used to in the the early seasons and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, I'll watch it because I'm still interested in laughing and things like that. But Ted 1 and Ted 2 is kind of, and what was the other one? A Thousand Ways to Die is in the West,
something like that. I don't know. I never saw it.
something like that. But it's like his movies that he's done and that have actually hit theaters have not been great. They've not been good. Like, I didn't like Ted 1 or 2. Thousand Ways to Die in the West was not that great either.
I
I don't know.
I really liked Ted 1. I liked Ted 2. I didn't think it was as good as Ted 1. I never saw the other one. And honestly, like I'm with you on the Family Guy thing. I think it does have to do with growing up, because I think like the target audience for Family Guy in my mind is like 14 to like 22.
And it's just people with those mentality as well.
Sure, which isn't to say that we think that they're immature or anything like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
honestly, a lot of it changed for me when South Park ran their episode where they were parodying Family Guy. Did you ever see that
yeah,
one?
yeah. I did.
God, it was so brilliant. And
It was really good.
ever since I saw them sort of spoof that whole formula, I can't take it seriously anymore. I'm like, God damn it, they're right. Like all they do is just like these flashbacks of these ridiculous like hypothetical situations, and it's just that over and over and over
Yeah.
again. And like I couldn't, it was really hard for me to, I haven't watched Family Guy in a long time. I think they missed the boat on that too. If they were going to make a Family Guy movie, they should have done it like five, six,
It should have been
seven, eight
sooner.
years
I
ago.
agree.
Anyways, what news stories did you pick out? I have a bunch more, but you picked out a few too,
Uh,
I'm
all
guessing.
right, I got two that kind of coincide here. Is with Civil War. The new trailer was released last week as well, while we weren't doing a podcast, I
Indeed.
believe. And that trailer was fantastic
It's
because it did
great.
everything right.
Yeah. It was
It teased things. It didn't give away too much. And I'm really excited about this. Civil War is one of my favorite story arcs in the no in the comic book universe. So it's really cool to be able to see this on the big screen when I watched it a few years ago and wanting to see it on the big screen.
Bucky's
Um,
character is so good too. Like
yeah,
the last Captain America, what was the last one called?
Winter Soldier.
Winter. Yeah, there it is. God, I'm an idiot. The Winter Soldier is like is my favorite movie in the MCU right now.
It's definitely the best, in my opinion, the best one.
For me, it's my favorite, followed by Guardians of the Galaxy, and then there's a case to be made for a bunch of other ones. But that one
Yeah,
for me had the best action, the best pacing, all that. And the Winter Soldier was just such an interesting villain. And
yeah,
I don't know much about the arc in the comics, but I know he takes over the mantle of Captain America at some point,
yep,
right?
yeah. Later on after Civil War.
And Chris Evans, he's come out and kind of said like he's not the biggest fan of being like a mega celebrity. So I get the impression that he's not interested in doing this for very long. And
Yeah,
so the idea of Bucky taking over the role of Captain America is really exciting to me. I want to see where like phase 4 and phase 5 is for the MCU.
hmm,
Um, and the one particular scene in the trailer where they're throwing the shield back and forth to each other and they're
yeah,
fighting Iron Man, man, that had me fucking exponentially hyped like that.
yeah. I was just smiling till my face hurt when I saw that. I'm really excited. But the only thing that I don't want from Captain America Civil War, because it is titled Captain America Civil War,
Right.
If they're not gonna do, I don't know. I don't want them to focus too much of the like. I don't want it to be one sided because there is two sides to the Civil War. There's Iron Man and Captain America, and their sides and what they're fighting for. And I don't want it to seem like Iron Man's the bad guy and Captain America is the good guy. Like I don't want it to be like that. And I don't want it to come off like that. I want it to be like it is a black and white. It's not a black and white situation. It's a huge gray area in what each side stands for, and they're both fighting for what they believe in. And no one is the bad guy. No one's really the good guy.
Well, that's kind
So
of the
it's
impression that I got from the trailers, because when you watch
see,
the
yeah,
trailer
that's
and you
as did
hear
I.
Captain America talk about his point of view, and then you hear Tony Stark talk about his point of view, I found myself when I was watching the trailer thinking like I'm kind of with both of them on this one. I don't really know like. So it didn't really when I watched the trailer, I didn't look at Tony Stark or Iron Man or any of the other guys as bad guys and good guys. I just saw it as like a family fight. That's kind of how
Yeah.
I saw it.
See that's pretty much what it is because well, I don't think they're not going to be as expansive with the characters in the movie, but in the actual like graphic novel, there are a shit ton of characters like from everywhere in the Marvel universe, and it is like a big family feud basically.
Yeah, we haven't even
Villains
seen
as well.
we haven't even seen Spider-Man or Vision or anything
Yeah.
in those trailers,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's it's gonna be huge, man. It's gonna be huge.
Yeah, Black Panther looks fantastic. I just want to say that Black Panther's outfit and costume looks top tier.
yeah,
It looks amazing.
yeah, he looked great. There was
I'm
another
really excited
there
about
was
that.
another piece of news when it came to the Civil War too, which was oh fuck, where is it? Hold on, let me find it. Did you find another one? Oh, here it is. So Civil War breaks previous views record. Did you see this?
No.
As far as the amount of views that they got on YouTube. It broke Marvel's record for most global views on a 24-hour period. In the first day following its release, the video earned 61 million views, which smashes the previous record for Age of Ultron. That trailer earned 34 million views, but neither one of them beat Star Wars, which got 128 million views. So, yeah, the hype for this movie is definitely real.
Yeah.
What was the
And
other story that you had there?
the other one has nothing to do with Civil War,
Ah, okay.
actually. It is the announcement that Samurai Jack is returning to Cartoon Network in 2016.
Which one's Samurai
Uh,
Jack?
it used to play. It was on regular Cartoon Network. It was the samurai that got sent through time by the big demon Aku.
I don't know. I didn't see
It
that.
rings any bells? No, really?
No, never.
It's on Netflix, I think. Still, I would recommend seeing it if you like that kind of stuff. It's a very actiony, kiddie samurai show, but it's actually really cool. It's a lot of fun, and I'm a huge fan of the show. I've watched it through like 4 or 5 times, and I'm really excited about this because they tweeted this out. Adult Swim actually tweeted it out on Wednesday, and just a little tiny teaser in a Twitter video, and I'm super stoked for this. I can't wait.
Cool. That's one of the plus sides of doing a movie slash nerd geeky podcast is that you get a list of things to watch that you haven't seen.
Yeah,
Every
for
week,
sure.
and it seems like every day these days, I go through Netflix and Amazon, and I feel like I've seen like everything that I want to see. And
Yeah.
I have a problem like branching out and trying new things. So one of these days, I just got to bite the bullet and go through this list
Yeah,
of
see, I,
movies.
I I always stick to my comfortability area when it comes to movies and TV shows, and I don't really break out too much.
Yeah, me too. Speaking of returning to old things, Anchorman 3 could feature Ron Burgundy reacting to the internet. This is kind of an interesting take on things. So like this article, they talked about how they wanted Anchorman 2 to satirize the fact that news became all about ratings and marketing and profit, and that kind of destroyed the news. So I didn't really
Mhm.
realize that's what Anchorman 2 is going for. So now Anchorman 3, the quote that I have from director Adam McKay is he said, that was the kind of thing we talked about. We talked about doing one that was about the rise of the new media. I also thought there was something to that idea, and who knows, maybe we'll do that someday. I also thought it would be cool to have Ron Burgundy get embedded in the Iraq War. We kicked around that idea, but we've never got that serious about it. But it would have to be the next stage of what media has become, and I think you're right. I think it's the internet. So I think that's a really interesting. Anchorman 2 wasn't great, but that's because the premise wasn't that great. I don't think. Like I didn't really find the plot like all that terrific. But I
Mhm.
love the idea of Ron Burgundy being confronted with like live streaming and YouTube and how he would react to that and like how the old guard would feel threatened by that. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for for like really great comedy in that kind of a plot.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan, so I'm just gonna not say anything.
Interesting. Really?
I'm not. Yeah, I've never been a Will Ferrell fan. There's very little of his movies that I actually enjoy. Like Anchorman one, I liked. There was one. What was the one?
Talladega Nights, Step Brothers. You never
Yeah,
saw it?
I like. I Step Brother was okay. I don't like his humor. I don't find his humor. I don't know. There's something about him I just don't like.
Maybe
I've
my
never been a
point of view.
fan.
Maybe my point of view is a little different because I was there when like him and the new cast of SNL took over,
Yeah,
and
I liked him in SNL. I loved him in SNL, but his movies, I don't know.
interesting. I don't know.
I'm not a fan.
Maybe it's just nostalgia for me, but I love Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Okay. Season 3 of Fargo will return to modern day. So that's cool. Entertainment Weekly reports that season 3 of Fargo will return to present day, as it's only set a few years after the first season. In season 2, the show went back to the time of 1979. Showrunner and, excuse me, I have to burp. I'm going to mute myself. There we go. Showrunner, writer, and producer Noah Hawley said it's more contemporary. It's set a couple years after season 1. So we talked about it before, but the movie, I got the timelines all mixed up, by the way, because when you guys asked me to explain what times the movie took, or the show and movie took place in, I just got it all wrong. So apparently this season's taking place in 1979. I know the first season took place in 2006, and the movie I think took place in I said 96, but now I think it's actually 1989 is what someone told me, or it's in the 80s actually.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but not much else to the story. I'm just a huge fan of the show, so I like sharing news about it. So if you guys are interested in Fargo, then that's a cool thing to know that it's going back to contemporary times. Another story I got here is Mad Max Fury Road named Best Movie by the National Board of Review. The National Board of Review has named their best film of 2015, and what a lovely day it is. The Board of Review named Mad Max Fury Road the best film while naming Ridley Scott, Matt Damon, and Drew Goddard the best director, actor, and adapted screenplay for their work on The Martian.
I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, The Martian was so good, man. It was such a terrific movie. It was one of my favorite movies this year. But I'm really happy to see Mad Max get that title because Mad Max became my favorite movie of all time. And I just thought it was such a perfect movie. We've already talked about that movie a bunch, but there's an entire list of what all their picks were for best director, actor, actress, all that. You can find it on the website. This is another really funny story that I found. Fox denies reports of a bear rape scene in The Revenant. Did you hear about this?
What? No.
So you remember I talked about the movie The Revenant, right? The one.
Yeah.
The one with Leo DiCaprio, the guy who.
Yeah, and he sleeps inside of a dead animal and all that.
Yeah. So apparently, somehow there was this rumor circulating that his character is raped by a bear in the movie. And Fox actually had to come out and say, as anyone who has seen this movie can attest, the bear in the film is a female who attacks Hugh Glass because she feels he might be threatening her cubs. There is clearly no rape scene with a bear. So just some random rumor that spread all over the internet was shocking enough for Fox to have to respond to it.
That is ridiculous.
So I just thought it was funny that this major studio came out and said there is no bear rape in our movie.
Something you would never think you would ever hear in your entire life about a movie. No. There is no bear rape.
And actually, to be honest, I'm a little disappointed in that. Did you have any other stories that you picked?
I have one more where it's about Alien. Ridley Scott says that the Alien Covenant is the first of a new trilogy.
Yeah.
As a sequel to Prometheus. So this completely blows out what everyone thought, basically, because we all thought that. Well, what I originally got from what he said was that Prometheus and then the next two were going to be the trilogy before Alien. But now there's just 3 more movies after Prometheus to be the official sequel as well. So I'm actually interested to get more info about that and see whether he's going to go with that.
Yeah, I read the same thing. That was one of the stories I picked too. Because I remember you talking about that and saying, I had heard that there was going to be a Prometheus 1 and 2, but I hadn't heard anything else besides that. And then you said there was going to be a full-on trilogy, and it turns out we're both wrong. It's Prometheus and then a full-on trilogy, which is technically a prequel trilogy, leading
Hmm.
into Alien, which we've talked about these movies a bunch. I'm super excited about it. In the same vein, did you know that there's a fucking Predator sequel in the works?
From sequel to which one though? The most recent
The
one,
old one, the
Predators.
old one. No, no, no. This is a
So
this is a
Predator 3.
this would be Predator 3, I think technically,
Yeah,
yes.
because the second one was in New York and all that.
It's
That's exciting. I like I like the character Predator more than I do the Xenomorphs, but I like the storytelling of Aliens better.
I agree. Yeah,
Um,
that's
but I
yeah.
think Predator is such a cool character. Like I this overall, like an alien hunter who hunts, things that are possibly stronger than him. Like that's such a cool concept for an alien character, and I love that character. So that's actually kind of exciting. Like
You
I
know,
actually really enjoyed Predators.
yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say I watched that again recently, the Robert Rodriguez one, and it wasn't bad. Like
it wasn't.
I
It was a good flick.
I don't think Adrian Brody is the guy to go to have like a strong male
Action
action
character. I
lead.
don't. He doesn't seem like an action character to me. Like
Nah,
I don't think he plays a good one. He's
no.
more of the drama guy. I
Yeah,
feel.
definitely. I mean, he. I guess he pulled it off kind of okay, but the movie itself wasn't bad. I just watched it again just recently, so. But yeah, it said in a brief post on Facebook, Fred Decker, I don't know who that is, revealed that he has turned in the script for the Predator sequel that he's working on with director Shane Black. Black is a veteran of the franchise as he played Rich Hawkins in the original 1987 movie and helped oversee things. He co-wrote the script for the sequel with Decker. It was initially believed that the film would be a reboot, but it was later revealed as a sequel, which Black has described as inventive. Robert Rodriguez, who produced Predators, will not be involved. At this time, Arnold Schwarzenegger is also not involved, but he has said he is confident in Black's writing abilities. So that's interesting. You had dudes from like the original Predator movie, both actors and writers, penning the script for the new one.
That's awesome.
So we'll have to see how that goes.
I'm really excited about that.
Damon Lindelof says Khan twist in Star Trek Into Darkness was a mistake. This was interesting. He said, when we did Star Trek Into Darkness, for example, we decided that we weren't going to tell people that Benedict Cumberbatch was playing Khan, and that was a mistake because the audience was like, we know he's playing Khan. That's why it was a mistake. But J.J. Abrams is telling us nothing about the new Star Wars movies, and we love it. I've not come across a single person who's like, I wish I knew a little bit more. We are like, thank God he's protecting us from all the things that will be revealed in the movie theater. So this was kind of like a hot topic when Into Darkness came out, and a lot of people, that was a big reason why a lot of people thought it wasn't as strong as the first one, is that the whole con twist was, everyone saw it a mile away.
Yeah.
Um, which, if we can delve into spoiler territory, I think is kind of the same. It's the same situation with. Did you see Spectre yet?
No. But
Okay.
you can spoil away. I don't really care.
Yeah, like what's his name? Christoph Waltz character. Okay, spoilers, guys. So skip ahead like 5 minutes if you don't want to hear what I have to say. But his character was was there a character in the old Bond series named Blofeld?
I think that was the one with the cat, right?
Yeah, the one with the cat.
Yeah.
I think
He
there were
was
a
he was
couple different iterations of Blofeld in the old
yeah,
movies,
but he
but
was always in the shadows and he was petting a cat.
yeah, so everyone already knew that Christoph Waltz character was Blofeld in this movie, but they just
Yeah.
vehemently denied it in every interview leading up to the movie. And
Yeah.
it was just obvious. They saw it coming a mile away. I just don't think that big movie studios can get away with those kind of twists anymore, unless you're something like J.J. Abrams
Especially
and
when
you
they're
just
doing
completely do a blackout.
something like especially they're doing something that has like material before the movie, like if it's like based off of something and things like that with
Yeah,
same thing with like Spectre and Khan. If it has like a source material and you're reiterating that source material, you really can't hide anything from people that have read or seen the source material.
yeah. I liked Into Darkness, but I do appreciate when filmmakers can go back and admit to something they think is a mistake.
Hmm.
Christopher McQuarrie will officially direct Mission Impossible 6. The reason why this is interesting is because this is the guy that directed the last one, Rogue Nation, which I just recently watched, and it was fucking awesome.
I'm actually gonna watch it tonight.
You've never seen it?
No, I'm watching it tonight. I really like the other one. The what was last one?
Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, Ghost Protocol was great. 3 was great. Um, I'm really excited to see Rogue Nation. I think they really found their what they need to do with those movies after the first two, and it makes me happy because those movies are cool.
Yeah, what made this interesting is this would make him the only director to helm 2 of the movies. So he's the only director to come back and do another one.
Nice.
And he did such a good job with Rogue Nation, so that has me excited. The way announced it on Twitter was pretty cool too. He just said mission accepted, hashtag MI6. So
Nice.
I'm sure we'll see more about that coming up. The last one that I have here, and what I think is the most interesting story that I picked, was Will Smith explains why he turned down Django Unchained. So if you knew anything about Django Unchained, you knew that Will Smith was heavily courted for this movie, but we never knew why it didn't work out. And now we do. He said, it was about the creative direction of the story. To me, it's as perfect a story as you could ever want. A guy that learns how to kill to retrieve his wife that has been taken as a slave. That idea is perfect. And it was just that Quentin and I couldn't see eye to eye. He says, I wanted to make that movie so badly, but I felt the only way was it had to be a love story, not a vengeance story. We can't look at what happens in Paris and want to fuck somebody up after that. The violence begets violence. I just couldn't connect violence to being the answer. Love had to be the answer. So if you know anything about Quentin Tarantino, that was never going to happen. So the fact that
not
he,
gonna spin.
like, I just wonder if he actually tried to convince Quentin Tarantino to change the theme of the story. I really wanted to see what those conversations look like.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to have a Quentin Tarantino movie where love is the answer to violence. And I'm glad that Jamie Foxx got that part over Will
He
Smith.
did great. He did phenomenal.
Yeah,
in that part.
That's another movie where I've gone back and watched it again recently, and I think I was a little too hard on that movie before, because one of my biggest criticisms is that I just couldn't take Jamie Foxx all that seriously. But
Yeah.
the more I watch it, the more I realize it's not just about his character being a badass; it's about the arc of his character. Because the character, he's unsure of himself, and he's not. His character has a progression. He starts off like being a natural when it comes to guns, but he does get better with time. So I think maybe I was expecting Django to be a badass like right away. And if I look at it in the context of how far his character came the whole movie, then I was able to enjoy it a little bit more. I do like that movie though. I thought I didn't like it, but I really do like it. And fucking Will Smith, man, he's a crazy person.
He's weird. He's weirdly, well, his son is super weird, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
They're all crazy.
Ever since what was that movie, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, that came out with both of them?
What? M. Night
The,
Shyamalan. Oh,
was it M. Night Shyamalan?
did M.
Yeah.
Night Shyamalan do After Earth? Is that what you're talking
Didn't
about?
he?
I think you might be right. I can't remember. Hold on.
I swore he did. I gotta look this up.
After Earth.
Because it was that
M.
bad that
Night.
it felt like one of his movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah.
Yeah. After that movie, I don't know what to think about Will. Because I've always loved Will Smith as an actor, but after that movie, I don't know,
I think he's gonna be really good in Suicide Squad. I'm really looking forward to that movie.
I think he's gonna pull that off really well, and I'm excited to see that. The only thing about Suicide Squad is I'm kind of upset it's rated PG-13 because they're going for more of the bigger family audience, I guess. And
yeah.
if anyone that's listening has ever read anything from Suicide Squad, anything like that, it's not PG-13 at all. Like nowhere is it a family adventure. So I'm interested to see how they spin it off, and hopefully it's still enjoyable, even though with the little bit of censoring and
that's not really surprising to me though. Like I expected that movie to be PG-13 since the time it was announced, just because it's such a part of the DC universe, and they're using it to introduce like Joker, so they're not gonna make that movie only marketable to people that are above 17 years old. Deadpool's a little different because that character is like kind of had time to sort of build a cult following, because Ryan Reynolds did do a really good job as Deadpool in the Wolverine movie, but because they handled that movie so bad. Yeah, I think like if there was never a Deadpool version before, then they probably would have wanted to go for PG-13. But because they already used that character once and it wasn't received well critically, they just kind of decided to let him off the chains a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what.
It was also like he fought, like Ryan Reynolds and the director really fought for that movie to be rated R.
Yeah, I heard that.
Like, there was a lot of controversy between the director, actors, and Fox because of that.
I heard about that, but I also think that PR, like public relations, had a lot to do with how it was announced that it was going to be R, and I think Ryan Reynolds was probably playing the White Knight a little too heavily there, but I don't know, who knows. So did you pick out some reader questions for this week?
I have actually a little bit on the the topic of what we were talking about Quentin Tarantino's movies is what is your favorite Quentin Tarantino movie by Dava?
Oh, there's so many that are so good. Like Kill Bill Volume 1 is probably up there for me. Inglorious Bastards is definitely up there for me. Um, if I had to pick one, it would probably be Inglorious Bastards, but it's really tough because he's done a lot of great shit, man.
Yeah,
I just watched Jackie Brown again last night, and I even love that movie, and that's
that's a
probably
that's a
his least
solid
liked
movie.
movie.
It's a solid movie. I would have to say it's pretty much a toss up between Glorious Bastards and Seven Rooms for me. I think.
I never. Are you talking about 4 rooms or 7 rooms?
Is it Four Rooms?
Yeah,
What am I thinking? Yeah, okay, yeah, Four Rooms.
4 Rooms
Four
is
Rooms. Yeah,
one
yeah.
that it was. I think it was directed by 4 different directors.
Was it?
Yeah, I think he directed one
Oh,
fourth
that's
of that
right. It was
movie, and
Quentin
then
Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, and I think Rockwell. I don't remember the fourth one.
I can't remember. I actually never saw 4 Rooms.
It's really good, but his my top three movies are from Quentin Tarantino has always been Pulp Fiction, Four Rooms, and um Inglourious Bastards for
Did,
sure.
did
So
you know that he directed the first half of From Dusk Till Dawn as well?
did he?
He directed the first half, and then Robert Rodriguez directed the second half of
Well,
that
he did the
movie.
same thing with Grindhouse.
Yeah. Well, those I think those technically were two separate movies that they combined for one
Well,
movie.
yeah, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, they
Um,
had two different like short movies,
yeah.
but I didn't know about that. Dust Till Dawn.
Yeah, that movie's not that great when I watch it now, but it blew my mind when I was a kid. Yeah, I think I'd have to go with Inglorious Bastards. Just like that opening scene, and Christoph Waltz and Brad Pitt are just both so great in that movie. And
Yeah, first off, Waltz is easily became my favorite actor after that movie.
he's pretty great. I'm
He's
really looking
tremendous.
forward to Hateful Eight. When does that come out? That comes out pretty soon, doesn't it?
It comes out this month, I believe. I thought it
I,
came out like near Christmas time.
I'm pretty sure it comes out in like a week or two here, but so many good movies coming out. The Revenant, Star Wars, and Quentin Tarantino movie here. What's your next question that you got?
This next question comes from Johnny Omegas. What is one book or graphic novel that you think must have a movie adaptation?
You know what's funny is that this would have been my answer regardless of whether or not I knew that a movie was actually coming out next year. But the BFG by Roald Dahl is getting a full-on screen adaptation by Steven Spielberg, and I'm really looking forward to that. You know who Roald Dahl is?
No.
He wrote James and the Giant Peach and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Willy Wonka and the Glass Elevator and or no, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Charlie and the Glass
Yeah.
Elevator. And he wrote this other book called The BFG, which is about the big friendly giant. And he was just like one of my favorite authors growing up as a kid, because his books are like really dark too. They're written for kids, but in the BFG there's literally giants like that eat kids for breakfast, like eat them as meals
Yeah.
and stuff. And then you have this big friendly giant that comes and so I'm really excited to hear about that, especially with Spielberg at the helm. What about you?
I have know nothing about it, so I'm excited about that. But I actually completely lost the question. What was the question again?
What's a book or a graphic novel you want to see as a
Oh
movie?
yeah, I was listening to you talk and thinking about the movie. If you would have asked me this question like 3 years ago, I would have said Civil War. Um, but now since that's a thing, and I'm still amazed by that, I would honestly, I would really like to see, uh, some of the darker and better Blade stuff. Even though it has a movie adaptation, there are better things they can do with it. I would either like to see that, or I would like to see a reiteration of Spawn.
Spawn would be a
From
really cool character to see.
I don't the original Spawn movie is really bad, and I would like to see better versions of Blade and Spawn because those are really two cool characters who have not gotten a good on-screen appearance.
Yeah. I mean, Blade 1 wasn't terrible, right? Didn't it
It wasn't absolutely terrible, and the third one wasn't absolutely terrible either. But I just they didn't they're those characters are so much deeper, and they're not they're so much better in the actual like graphic novels and comics and stuff that I feel like they really need a reboot.
Yeah, I'm with you on Spawn. I saw that movie a long time ago and did not like it.
Yeah.
Spawn's been in like a couple video games since too. I think he's been in Mortal Kombat. I think he was
He
one
was
of
in
the.
Soul Calibur. He was in Soul Calibur
that's what it
2, I
was.
believe. Yeah, he was the Xbox's special character was Spawn,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
he had a game on the original Xbox, Spawn Armageddon, which was fucking awesome.
Wasn't that Todd
Um,
McFarlane? What else did Todd McFarlane do? He's done a lot of comics, right?
yeah, he does a lot of toys and comics and like really weird, dark like toys and creepy stuff. Spawn was it's kind of like his baby. But I think mostly does toys now. I think he's more into toys and stuff like that. He has a lot of really cool looking like models.
Cool. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm with you. What's the what's the next question you got here?
I'm been looking through. And there's not a lot of great ones. I'll be completely honest. What would be your first suggestion for someone who hasn't seen a lot of movies to watch by Comandor 412?
Yeah, I saw this question earlier, and it's funny because we talked about Indiana Jones before. I would like Indiana Jones is such a great place to start watching
Hmm.
movies. Start at Raiders of the Lost Ark and just you can skip the fourth one, but if you watch the first three, if you've never seen an Indiana Jones movie, you're in for a treat. Um, that's what came to mind when I saw that question. What did you think?
Yeah. I honestly thought some Quentin Tarantino movies is a solid place to start with a lot of things. More a lot of it, some of his easier stuff. Maybe like not like Pulp Fiction, but maybe like Kill Bill or Inglourious Bastards or even Reservoir Dogs. Things like that are some of like the most staple movies in the movie community now because they're held so high as some of the best movies of all time.
Well, there you go. You have one answer that's more family friendly and one answer that's more non-family friendly there. So, whatever you're in the mood for. Julian Bailey has an interesting one here. He said, Do you think Ex Machina actually said anything new or interesting about the concept of AI or transhumanism in general?"
um, the movie really dealt with a lot of even spoiler alert real quick. Even like the main character like was fighting with his own humanity during that movie because he didn't know if he was an AI
Yeah,
created to test out the other AI and things like that. So I thought it was super interesting the way the different like messages they had in that movie about if an AI was real, would they be seen as an actual person? Could they adapt and meld into our society?
yeah.
Or would they be seen as freaks, or would they just try to overthrow us because they would be the superior being on the planet?
That's what I kind of got by the end of that movie. And again, we're in spoiler territory, so skip ahead a couple minutes if you've never seen the movie. But what I liked about that movie is the concept of who's the good guy and who's the bad guy by the end of it. Because by the
Yeah.
end of it, I was completely sympathetic to her character,
Hmm.
and I just viewed machines as the next step of evolution, and there was nothing we could do about it. And that didn't make them bad. That didn't make machines like a bad thing. It
Yeah.
was just an inevitability. So I thought that was kind of interesting that it played with my idea of, who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. Um, I mean, I think there was one really clear bad guy in that movie for me,
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
for sure.
but it did make you question. Um, it did make you question your idea of that throughout the entire film.
I
Um,
have
here's
another
one.
one from
No, go
I'll
ahead.
go. Die Hard 442 asks, "What were your favorite movies as kids?"
Like action movies, '90s action, like Terminator 2 and The Rock are like probably my two favorite movies growing up.
I'm gonna I grew up a lot on Alfred Hitchcock movies. So those kind of movies were really extremely my shit growing up. But of course, action movie. My Terminator 2 was my first rated R movie, actually, and that was a lot of fun. So I'm gonna have to go with some Terminator 2 and Alfred Hitchcock stuff.
I like
And that
Trespass's
kind of
question here. He says, what's the best Tom Hanks movie?"
shit.
I don't know about
Well,
the.
I, the, I watched Road to Perdition recently, and Captain Phillips recently. Uh, those are fantastic movies. But I've always said that my favorite movie is Castaway, so I'm gonna stick with that.
Yo, I was just about to say, like, I don't know about the
Like,
best Tom Hanks movie, but my favorite
but
Tom Hanks movie is
it's
Castaway.
it's every time I think of a really good Tom Hanks movie, Castaway is always my number one.
It's definitely up there. Yeah. Um, what is your proudest moment in gaming? Is that or no, your greatest moment in gaming?
Greatest moment in gaming. What does he mean by that?
Like, I guess
I got
what you're most proud
140
of.
kills in Black Ops 1 once on Nuketown demolition.
Is
Just
that your? Would you consider
I
that to be your favorite, like your best moment in gaming?
probably not.
No.
I
Uh,
don't even know.
I think like when I look back in the impact that it had, just beating the 007 Aztec level on the hardest difficulty was like that was a really I mean that was a it was really challenging. And I recorded myself doing that with my VCR.
Yeah.
I don't know how I did that, but I was using, quote unquote capture card and making gameplay videos before that was even like a thing. Like
Jesus.
I recorded myself beating the level. And then I took it over to my buddy's house. I'm like, yo, I've been trying to beat this level for like 3 days. Check it out. This is how I did it.
Jesus.
And then when I got the Vex Mythoclast in Destiny, that was like a huge moment for me.
Yeah, you got
Um,
that. You got the like the first week that was like for being found. You got that really early.
I got
Like you
it.
were one of the first.
I got it. I think the first time I beat Atheon. No, the second time I beat Atheon, I got it.
Yeah. So the second week of that raid, or whenever it was, you did it. You did it the first week, right? When that
I
was
think I
released.
think I had two characters, so I did it. I did it twice, and I got it the first
Oh,
week.
okay. Yeah. So yeah, you got that very early. You're one of the first.
Yeah. Story 95 has one here. What has been your opinion of the biggest drawback to modern day blockbusters? The thing that I would have to say about that, it was like there's too much of an emphasis on movies to be franchises right away. So people
Hmm.
like studios they don't want just one big action movie. They want that movie to lead into like
Six different action
three
movies.
sequels and seven spin-offs, and so it's
Yeah.
really hard for stories to exist independently on their own without trying to set something up for later or that sort of thing. So I think that kind of like sometimes it works. Like the MCU, obviously they do it really well, and there's a lot of really wonderful cohesion to it all, but not everybody can be the MCU, and not everybody has the resources to invest on making the stories that cohesive. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably like the biggest drawback right now to big blockbusters.
Uh,
Like Fantastic Four is a really good example of that, of them putting the horse before the cart before the horse. Um, that's one thing that we didn't talk about in news is that Fantastic Four 2 was just taken off of the slate silently. They didn't announce it or anything like that, but it's no longer on their slate of
thank
movies.
Christ.
We all kind of expected that, but
Yeah.
that's just it's just a really good example of the amount of pressure that you put on yourselves to make a movie into a franchise and have it be successful right away. And then you have other examples of like the DC universe. They don't give a fuck. Like they have complete confidence in their brand. The only movie that's come out in the current DC universe has been Man of Steel, and they already have worked on or are done working on 3 other movies that haven't even come out with Batman
Yeah.
v Superman, Wonder Woman, and Suicide Squad. So, I mean, it better be good. Like, if
Yeah.
Batman v
I
Superman comes out and it's not great, it's like, holy shit, we're already almost done with these 2 other movies that haven't even come
yeah.
out yet.
Um, I kind of agree with that as well, but I also think that they're really focusing a lot on remakes and rewrites and new forms of a already made formula, and there's not a lot of new stuff coming out on the big screen. Like there, if you want variety, you have to go to you have to go to the IFC stuff and things that aren't big AAA blockbuster movies and things like that. Like that's where all of the creativity is now, and it's all just on the big screen. It's mostly just rewrites, remakes, and things like that. And that's kind of unfortunate because it takes the magic out of going to the movie theater and just watching another reiteration of another movie that you've seen previously.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, like the movies that are doing it really well are just not really blockbusters. Like the Raid 1 and 2.
Yeah.
They were profitable. They were great movies, but they were never, they're never going to compete with the Avengers or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um
I have a question here from Izori Ori. Is you could have pursued any job in the world. Why did you decide to take gaming from hobby to profession?
I didn't plan on it. I wasn't like looking for it. When it started for me, it was a hobby, and then all of a sudden it was like, "Oh, we can make money off of this now. Oh, we can make enough money to just do this now." So it wasn't
Yep.
like something like I set out to do. I don't know about you, but the
I didn't.
landscape was a little different by the time you probably started, right? Because
Uh,
people had already
yeah, people
come
were
and
already
done it
making
in
a
full
job.
time, and yeah.
Yeah, like I started around the time that you were still working at Machinima. You were still there with Sark, C Nanners, and and you were at machinimas when I
Yeah.
the time I started. Um, but I just after high school I took a year and just to figure out what I wanted to do. I started making YouTube videos and just kind of just doing it for fun and seeing what would happen. And I ended up getting partnered and started making a little bit of money. It wasn't enough to say, "Oh, this is my job now." It was just a little bit here and there, and then I started streaming, and that's kind of where it took a turn, and went from I'm sitting here playing video games every day to I'm sitting here working every day
Yeah.
without me even really realizing. Like it's still to me, it still feels like a hobby. It doesn't feel like a job like at all. It still has that hobby charm with me. So so yeah,
It's still for
I
the
just
most part
fall into
is
it.
like awesome, but I mean, there's definitely
Oh yeah,
there's definitely some times where it for me where it feels kind of grindy. But
yeah, it definitely can for sure.
I think that all depends on like what's going on in your actual, excuse me, on your actual life as well.
Yeah, if
Because
you
if you
have
have,
like a lot of things going on that takes your time away, you can feel like, oh man, well I got all this stuff done. Now I have to go stream now.
yeah, it's really hard to when your job, it's like kind of like half a show and then half your actual personality. For me,
Hmm.
like you have to put in an effort to keep the energy high and that sort of thing. And it's really hard to do that when you have, let's say, a relative dies, or let's say you get a divorce, or let's say just something like really unforeseen happens. Really hard for me to put that aside sometimes and be like, okay, now it's my job to sit here and have fun, play video
Yeah.
games, crack jokes when I have all this other stuff going on. That's something that I still haven't, figured out. And I like, it makes me think of, like, I don't know how people like David Letterman and Jay Leno and all those guys, like I developed so much more of a respect for that kind of job, for
Hmm.
actual showmen, like show people. Um, just knowing that they still like the show must go on no matter what is something that's really difficult for me. And this just doing this what I do on such a smaller scale from what they do has led me to have like a lot more respect for for entertainers. I don't
Yeah,
know if
and
that was a cohesive thought or anything. I
yeah,
just started ranting.
it actually like I can relate. Just recently, actually, I went through a breakup. We were together for a year and a half, and to be able to force myself, I literally had to force myself to get out of bed and jump on stream, and it was really hard because the way I run my streams is I want everything to be happy, smiles, laughs. Like I want to be able to bring people up and just make people happy. It's because we're entertainers. That's what we do. That's what we want to do. And it was really hard to be happy during those first few weeks because of that breakup. It was rough, and I took a few days off consecutively, which I usually don't do,
Yeah.
just to get my mind right and put my mind into the right place to do what I do properly and not like phone it in and feel like I'm faking.
Yeah,
So it can
I've
get
had a
pretty
few
taxing.
breakups since this whole YouTube thing, and like I think that's probably like the worst for me. I've also had some like really shitty family stuff happen,
Yeah.
too, and like that can be really draining as well. Um, but yeah, when that happens, it sucks, but I think it gets easier each time, and
Hmm.
I think you find a little bit of tenacity inside of you.
Yeah.
You have to find a little bit of tenacity and a little bit of perseverance when you're presented with those kind of situations. So I think it does build character in the long run. I think
Yeah, for sure.
it does get easier and easier each time. And now, like when it comes to breakups, I just choose not to talk about it for a little while. Like I might like
Yeah.
when I got married and then we broke up, and I just didn't talk about it for like 5 months, 6 months. I just ignored, and the comments got more and more, the tweets got more and more. We haven't heard from her a while. Where's she at? And how are things going? Did you guys break up? And finally one day I just said on Twitter, I was just like, hey, just so you guys know, this happened a while ago, but we split up, and I don't really have anything else to say about it. And that's all I said.
Yeah.
Like because I think that before there was pressure to be transparent
Hmm.
because that's kind of part of what it is to be a streamer and a YouTuber.
Yeah,
And
we're very in the public about everything that we do. Our lives are very in the public and stuff. And when it comes to like relationships and stuff like that, that's not everyone's business. Like you don't need to know what's happening. We choose what you need to know, basically.
there's
So with
also
breakups and things like that, it can be really, you know, it could be the best to keep it private for a while. Honestly, I think.
there's also like the ethics that go into it because I mean I never wanted to use my my YouTube channel or my live stream as a platform to talk shit about someone else. Because
Yeah, exactly.
anytime you break up with someone, I don't care how amicable it is, there's always going to be some residual hard feelings, and I wish this person would have done this differently and this, that, and the other thing. And I think if you focus too much on what the other person did, then you're not going to learn anything about your own shortcomings when it comes to relationships, first of all.
Yeah.
But then second of all, you don't want, like, even if because I was pissed off during a couple of the breakups that I had. I was really pissed off, and rightfully so. But at the same time, I had done a lot of fucked up things too, and I had done a lot of things that had pissed them off. And I can't talk about what they did without talking about what I did. But that doesn't even matter. I don't want to talk about anyone else on my YouTube channel. I don't want to have to explain, well, this one time she did this one thing and it really broke the trust and this, that, and this is just not the forum for that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's all a learning process. I've seen some people handle breakups really well, and I've seen people handle it real poorly as far as like YouTubers go. And so I just pay attention to what I see people doing wrong, and I think to myself, okay, don't do that.
Yeah, make sure to not make those same mistakes.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I think that's all the energy I have before my brain just completely shuts down here. I'm still getting over being sick, guys, so I apologize if my spaciness was a thing this episode. Gio, do you want to talk about social media and new formats and things like that?
Yeah. So we said earlier that we're going to be getting rid of basically Over and Under, which is where we would talk about our most overrated and underrated movies. We're going to get rid of that, and we're going to fill that gap with viewer themes. You guys just throw a theme at us, and we'll pick the one that we like the most. So it can be like, sports movies, superhero movies,
Best
action
underdog movies, or
best
just
underdog
anything
movie.
you can think of,
Yeah, just give us a theme, and we'll talk about that theme in the next podcast. So you can give us that theme via Twitter. Our Twitter is podcast chill. You can give it to us in the comment section of YouTube. I'll look through. We'll look through both of those, and you guys can do that. We are also uploading our podcast to SoundCloud as well. You can find that link in the description. It goes up a little bit after the podcast goes up on YouTube, so you can sync it to your phone. You listen to it while you go to work and things like that. So we had a lot of questions about that. So we are uploading all podcasts to SoundCloud, and
So if
all the previous episodes are up there.
If someone doesn't have the SoundCloud app, and if they don't want to mess with that, can they download the MP3 off SoundCloud and then put it on their, like if they have an iPhone, can they put it on their phone that way as well?
Yeah. They can put it directly to their phone from their computer to their phone. They don't have to have the app on. That is an option.
And we've talked about iTunes before. It's not something that we're going to do just yet, but it might come later down the line. But this is a really easy way for you guys to get our podcast without having to go to YouTube. Because I know a lot of you guys are on your phone. You don't want to keep the YouTube app open the whole time while you're listening to the podcast and stuff. So just another way for you guys to get it. Was there anything else that you had to say there?
No, I think that about wraps it up.
Your Twitter is ActaBunnyFufu,
ActaBunniFoofoo.
My Twitter is Z0MG, like Zomai God. That's a 0. Zomai God, it's Hutch. And there you go. That's all we got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this week's episode, and we will see you guys next week. Peace out.
See you guys later.